So good morning, students. Am I audible?
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So today we shall discuss about fiber optics and networks in the model number 3. Okay. So in the last class we discussed the model number 2. We completed the model number 2, but today we'll start with the model number 3. So here the model number 3 is discussing about optical sources and photo detectors, okay, and optical receiver. 3 parts are been there. So we need to discuss 3 parts. The first thing is what optical sources. Next thing is what photo detectors, and the third thing is what optical receiver. So here in the optical sources, the energy bands. So energy bands direct in the optical sources. What are the syllabus content we are going to study? That is energy bands, direct and indirect band gaps, light emitting diodes. So in the light emitting diodes, LED structure, light source materials, quantum efficiency, and LED power, and the modulation with respect to the LED. So and later we are going to discuss about laser diodes. So in the laser diode, the modes and the threshold conditions, the rate equation, so external quantum efficiency, the resonant frequencies, laser diode structures, and the radiation patterns we are going to discuss. So in the radiation patterns, a single mode lasers we are going to consider. So these are the broad category, the optical sources. So in the optical sources, the main thing is what LED structure, and the main thing what we are going to discuss is LED and laser. So with respect to the LED and laser, we are going to discuss many things. Okay, how we are going to consider the band gap, how it emits the energy and all. So it is almost something like a repetition for you people. Why? Because what is the working principle of lasers and all, you people have studied in the earlier semesters and in the +2 level only. The same thing we are going to study here also. Okay. So the next thing is what we are going to study about the photo detectors. So with respect to the photo detector, we are going to study about, okay, so we are going to study about the principles of photodiodes, photodetector noise, the detector response time we are going to discuss. And later optical receiver. So when you are talking about optical receiver, so we are going to understand the basic principle of optical receiver. And after understanding the basic working principle, we are going to study about error sources. And after that understanding of error sources, we are going to discuss about front-end amplifiers, receiver sensitivity, and quantum limit. So these are the things what we are going to discuss. Okay. So now we'll go on to the first thing, that is optical sources. So what do you mean by optical source? The basic optical communication system consists of essentially 3 components. So what are the 3 components? The first thing is what optical source, an optical fiber, and a photo detector. So optical source is required. Why we require optical source? So it has to convert, okay. So it has to convert the electrical signal into optical signal. So the major requirements of optical sources are the ability to directly modulate the light intensity, compatibility to optical fibers, spectral width, and reasonable optical power outputs. So these are the what you call for the major requirements. When you are talking about the major requirements, okay, the ability to directly modulate the light intensity. So if you have a optical source which can directly modulate, so then it is good. Or else we need to have another one thing which will do that particular process. So if you have that particular function inside, okay, inbuilt, then it is a good thing. So ability to directly modulate the light intensity, that is a thing. And second thing is what? Compatibility to optical fibers. So here compatibility to optical fibers in terms of what? So in terms of operating wavelength and power coupling. So in terms of operating wavelength and power coupling. Okay, compatibility to optical fibers in terms of operating wavelength and power coupling. So next thing is what? Spectral width and reasonable optical power outputs. Spectral width and reasonable optical power outputs. So these are the three major requirements for optical sources. So the most suitable optical sources are a light semiconductor light emitting diode, that is LED. The second one is what? A laser diodes. Okay. So the first thing is what? The most suitable optical sources when I'm talking about. The first one is what? Semiconductor light emitting diode, that is LED. And the second thing is what? Laser diodes. Okay, laser diodes. So when you are discussing about what do you mean by LED, okay, a light emitting diode is a semiconductor device that emits a narrow beam of light under forward bias condition. Okay, a light emitting diode is a semiconductor device that emits a narrow beam of light under a forward bias condition. So that is the meaning of LED. So that particular meaning you people are already knowing. So if I just want to brief out, that is a light emitting diode is a semiconductor device, fine, that emits a narrow beam of light under forward bias condition. In the reverse bias condition, it is not going to emit the light. That is what the meaning. So the light from LED is non-coherent. The light from LED is non-coherent. Coherent means what? It is having the high intensity and it is going in the same direction with a high intensity. So that is called a coherent beam. So when we are talking about non-coherent, that means what? It is having lesser intensity, even though it is narrow, it is having a lesser intensity and it can get spreaded in due course of time. So when it is traveling to more distance, it will get spreaded. That is called what? Non-coherent beam. Okay. So now when you're talking about LED, okay, further, so this LED consists of semiconductor material doped with impurities to create a structure called PN junction, and current flows in one direction. So LED consists of semiconductor material doped with impurities to create a structure called PN junction, and current flows in one direction. So there, when electrons and holes flow into the junction from electrodes with different voltages, electron falls into the lower energy level and release energy in the form of photon in visible spectrum. So when electrons and holes flow into the junction from electrodes with the different voltages, electron falls into the lower energy level and release energy in the form of photon in the visible spectrum. This is how exactly the LED is going to work. Okay. So this particular process is already very well known to you people. The wavelength of light, that is color, depends on the band gap energy of the material forming the PN junction. So the wavelength of the light, okay, depends on band gap energy of the material forming the PN junction. So here the LEDs are built in N-type substrate with electrodes attached to the P-type layer deposited on its surface. So LEDs are built on N-type substrate. So substrate we are going to take it as N-type, and with electrodes attached to the P-type layer deposited on its surface. So next thing is what? The refractive index. So the Ri, that is refractive index of packaged material, must match with the Ri of the semiconductor. Otherwise, light gets practically reflected back, so which is absorbed in terms of turns into heat. Okay, the refractive index of the packaged material must match with the refractive index of semiconductor. Otherwise, light gets partially reflected back, which is absorbed and turns into heat. So the major breakthrough that led to high capacity with the invention of laser. So now here, excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. So here, what exactly happens is in this particular thing, LED is having some of the disadvantage. What are the disadvantage? So it is not having the high intensity. The low intensity is it is having, and there is something like when the package must be material must match the refractive index and all, something is going wrong. The signal is reflecting back. When the signal is reflecting back, okay, so which is absorbed and turns into the heat. That is what exactly is going to happen. So here the major breakthrough so led the high capacity with the invention of laser. So now the capacity of LED is less. So in order to achieve the high capacity, okay, so there we are going with the laser, that is the light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation in 1960. So here a light laser, when we are talking about the laser action, results from the following phenomena. So in this particular following phenomena, the photon absorption, spontaneous emission, stimulated emission by population inversion. So this is the first thing. Okay, this particular process and all is well studied, but still we'll revise the things. Okay, so photon absorption, spontaneous emission, and stimulated emission. So you can make a note of it. So you can make a note of it. So once you take the particular thing, we'll go on to the next thing. So we'll go to the LED structure. So when you're talking about LED structure in the PN junction, the conventional PN junction is called as a HOMO junction. As same semiconductor material is used in both sides. The electron hole recombination occurs in relatively wide layer, that is 10 micrometer. As the carriers are not confined to the immediate vicinity of the junction, hence high current densities cannot be realized. Okay, what is the reason? The reason is very simple. Here the carriers are not confined to the immediate vicinity of the junction. That means what? It should be beside the junction. That means what exactly? The next to the junction. It is not in that particular position since the carriers. That is why high current density cannot be realized. So if it is in the vicinity of the junction only, then we can go further and we can achieve the high intensity of the high current density we can observe. So the carrier confinement problem can be resolved by sandwiching a thin layer. Okay, sandwiching a thin layer, or maybe thin layer. So that particular thin layer is 0.1 micrometer between the p-type and n-type layers. So the middle layer may or may not be doped. Okay, the middle layer may or may not be doped. The carrier confinement occurs due to the band gap discontinuity of the junction. So such a junction are called as what heterojunction, and the device is called as what double heterojunction structure. So now so for any optical communication system requiring the bit rate less than 100 to 200 megabits per second together within the multimode fiber, coupled optical power in tens of microwatts. So your LED are the best suitable for optical source. See, when the requirement, okay, so when the bit rate requirement is less than 100 to 200 megabits per second, and okay, and together with multimode fiber, and we are requiring the microwatts. Okay, the power requirement is only the tens of microwatts, that is 10 microwatt, 20 like that. Then we can go for the LED, that is suitable, that is the best suitable optical source. So for the less bit rate and less power and multimode fiber. So when you're talking about the next thing, okay, these LEDs, when you're talking about these LEDs require less complex drive circuitry than the laser diode, the advantage. So why? Because the laser is having the more current density. So here LEDs will be having the less current density. So to achieve the less current density, the less complex drive circuitry is enough. That is why we can say that LEDs require less complex drive circuitry than the laser diode. So here the no thermal or optical stabilization circuits needed. So in this particular somebody is disturbing the class. Okay. To achieve the okay. So the first thing is what less complex drive circuitry than the laser diode. That's the first thing. The second thing is what the no thermal or optical stabilization circuit needed. So why? Because there is no thermal and optical stabilization is required. When you are comparing with the laser, we require all these things. So this can be fabricated with low cost. Okay, that is what the thing. So now to achieve the high radiance and high quantum efficiency, the LED structure a means of confining the charge carriers and the stimulated emission to the active region of PN junction where the radioactive recombination takes place. So for carrier confinement is used to achieve high level of radiative recombination in the active region of the device, which yields high quantum efficiency. So your optical confinement, see here, what do you mean by confinement means when the light energy is generated, when the quantum, the photon is released in the junction, that all the released photons should be channeled to a very narrow area. So that is called confinement. So if it is not able to achieve, so if we are not able to achieve that one, then it is a problem. Okay, that is why then we cannot achieve the high radiance. We can achieve the minimum radiance. That is a problem. So optical confinement is of importance for preventing absorption of the emitted radiation by the material surrounding the PN junction. So to achieve carrier and optical confinements, LED structure configuration are of two types such as homojunction and single and double heterojunction. Okay, homojunction is single junction, and next thing is what single and double heterojunction are widely used. So homojunction is not there in the syllabus to discuss. So we are going to the heterojunction. So here in heterojunction also, double heterojunction structure only we are going to discuss. not the single or single heterojunction we are not going to discuss. So talking about the heterojunction, so a junction is an interface between the two adjoining single crystal semiconductors with different band gap. So your heterojunctions are of two types, that is isotype and anti-isotype. That is PN junction. When you consider it is anti-isotype. So isotype means what? N and N and P are P. So the junction have been formed between the N and N substrate and the P and N substrate. So correspondingly we call it as isotype and anti-isotype. So next thing when you're talking about is double heterojunction. So here we'll take the we'll take this particular diagram, all of you. Please make a note of it, this particular diagram, all of you. Please make a note of it, this diagram, all of you. Okay, so we'll see the explanation. In order to achieve the efficient confinement of emitted radiation, so double heterojunction are used in the LED structure. So in the heterojunction is a junction which is formed by dissimilar semiconductor. So that means what? Dissimilar means what? N and P type, like that we are going to use. So double heterojunction is formed by two different semiconductors on each side of the active region. So here the figure is indicating the diagram. So here what exactly happens is in the center we can see that there is a N and indium gallium arsenide phosphorus combination is there. So here in the left side it is having the N doping with indium phosphorus. So on the right hand side it is having the P type. So P with doping with indium phosphorus. Okay. So I can say that N is at the left and the next and in the center, and finally we'll have the P at the last. Okay, so that is what exactly the thing which is going to happen. So now here we can see that this particular configuration will form like, so the center region it will be forming like core region. Okay, core region, that is active region we can say. So your refractive index is going to be get changed. So when you're talking about the either side of the center, so it is having only the 3.2. So refractive index and in the center it is 3.5. So like the waveguide region we are talking about. So here in the center where exactly the combination occurs and the hole will, the electron and hole recombination takes place, and then when it emits the photon of h nu, so that particular area where the recombination takes place, that is called as what active region. Okay, so you can see in the top that is injected electrons. So here minus sign is indicated with electrons. So here all this structure will support that particular recombination to happen. When the recombination is happening, it will emit the electron. It will emit the photon, okay, not electron. When the electron hole recombination takes place, then the photon of energy is going to be emitted, okay. So in the from the p side, what exactly happened? Injected holes will be injected. From the n-type, electrons will be injected. So when it is injected from either side of the double heterojunction structure, we are injecting one side electrons and another side holes. So obviously the recombination, those are free. So now once you're injecting means what? We made them free and we are injecting them. So once we are injecting them, so obviously in the active region, they are freely moving. Once they are freely moving, the tendency of what happens? So the tendency of recombination will occur. So when the electron is recombining with the hole, so obviously the photon will be emitted. So that particular photon is collected. Okay. So and then that is used as a LED light emitting diode. So this is a structure and that will be used as light emitting diode. Light we are going to consider. Okay, so now when you're talking about the continuation of this particular thing, so the cross-hatched regions represent the energy levels of the free charge. So a recombination occurs only in the active region or active layer. The two materials have different band gap energies and different refractive indices. The changes in the band gap energies create potential barrier for both holes and electrons. The free charges can recombine only in narrow, well-defined active layer side. So a double heterojunction structure will confine both hole and electrons to a narrow active layer. So under forward bias. So there will be a large number of carriers injected into the active region where they are effectively confined. So next thing when you're talking about, you can see that another advantage of a double heterojunction structure is that the active region has higher refractive index than the material on either side. Hence, light emission occurs in an optical waveguide. So here what exactly happens is when we have a provision that the core, when the active layer is having the higher refractive index and other side it is having lower refractive index. So obviously the active region will act as a core. Okay. So active region will act as a core. So from the core emission is going to takes place. Okay. So then the taking from the we are taking the what do you call for that? We are taking the energy or taking the light energy from the active region. So in turn I can say that in turn we can say that it is acting as a core. Okay, so this is all about the double heterojunction structure. Okay. So now after understanding this particular double heterojunction structure, okay, so LED configuration, that is what are the types of LEDs which are used in the fiber links or the configuration when you're talking about. So here in LED configurations at present there are two types of LEDs so used in the fiber links. So what are the two types of LEDs which are used in the fiber links? The first one is what surface emitting LED. And the second one is what edge emitting LED. So make a note of it, all of you. The first one is what surface emitting LED, and the second one is what edge emitting LED. So once you write this particular two things, that is surface emitting LED and edge emitting LED. Okay, so here the common thing between these two is the both devices used DH structure, that is double heterojunction structure, to constrain the carriers and the light into an active region. So both are the types of double heterojunction structures only. Okay, the both follow the same procedure. But only thing is what where exactly we are going to take the output, that is the matter. Okay. So in the surface emitting LED, we can see that in surface emitting LED, the plane of active light emitting region is oriented perpendicularly to the axis of the fiber. In surface emitting LEDs, the plane of active light emitting region is oriented perpendicularly to the axis of the fiber. The DH, that is double heterojunction diode, is grown on N-type substrate at the top of the diode. So as shown in the figure. So figure, you can see that this is the figure. Okay. So I'll give you 5 minutes of time. All of you must take the figure. So the figure is having the more weightage here. Please take down the figure, all of you. Please make a note of it. I want everyone to write this particular diagram. Please make a note of it, diagram, all of you. See, in that examination, the questions will be like this. They will be asking you to write the, what you call for that, they will be asking you to write the double heterojunction diode structure and explain for 10 marks. If they don't ask you that particular question, they will ask you for explain surface emitting LED and edge emitting LED. So either of these two questions will definitely appear in the examination. That is why the structure of surface emitting LED is very, very important. So please make a note of it. So in this particular diagram, I can see that so inside, exactly inside, there is a fiber. Okay, so in active region is there. So you can see that from the bottom diagram we'll see. Okay, so it is gold heat sink. So it is very difficult to use the gold heat sink for testing process and all they will be using. Okay, so gold heat sink we are going to use. They are going to use, and after that above that metal contact is there. So now we can see that there are double hetero junctions are there. So that is what N type, P type and P type. So two P types are there and one N type is there. Okay. So in the N type and in the bottom P type, there is nothing going to happen. It is only injecting the positive, that is holes. So in the N type, we are injecting the electrons. So when they are injecting the electrons from the N type and injecting the holes from the P type, so what exactly happens? In the active region. So this particular what you call that recombination is going to take place. So when the recombination is taking place, obviously the photon of energy will be emitted. So when the photon of energy is going to get emitted, so that emission is been taken through the fiber. So you can see that in the active region we have inserted the fiber. So that fiber will take the energy out of it and will be passed on to the next level. So your epoxy resin bonding material will be there, circular etched well will be there, and metal contact. Okay, so substrate. So all these things are supportive layer to all this particular surface LED. Okay, so whereas double heterojunction is the primary thing, and this metal contact, substrate, okay, circular etched well, epoxy resin, bonding material, all these things are supportive layers. Please make a note of it. Here, why it is called our surface? That means what? In the above surface, we are taking like making a hole and we are going to take it. That is above the surface. That is why it is called what surface LED. So now you see the explanation part of it. Here at the back of the device, the gold heat sink, the current flows through the P-type material and forms a small circular active region, resulting in the intense beam of light. So please make a note of this particular diagram, all of you. So here I can see that when we're talking about LED, what exactly happens is when the light is emitting from the surface, we are taking, but when it is exposed to air, so it will spread in the conical form. Okay, so that is why you see it is like it is not a coherent beam. So if it is a coherent beam, it will go in a single direction and it will not get spreaded. Since it is a non-coherent beam, what exactly happens? It will go in a flow that it is going in a conical structure. So that particular structure also you please see to it. So in circular area, in circular active area, in practical emitters is 50 micrometer diameter. Thickness of circular area is equal to 2.5 micrometer. The current density when we are talking about it is equal to 2000 ampere per centimeter square. The half power emission pattern is isotropic with the 120-degree power beam width. So these are the technical specifications of the surface LED.